Welcome back, everyone. Finally, to what's the name of the podcast we record again? I'm Jeff.
The replacement podcasters. I'm pretty sure the replacement podcast.
Yeah, we probably should be replaced.
I was sick and then I was busy.
We were like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't even fucking know. We're like 2 weeks behind on this episode. Did anyone notice? That's the real question. Probably not.
There's at least one person, maybe.
At least one person.
Yeah, at least one person. And funnily enough, he hasn't mentioned it.
Yeah.
So we've lost Bobby.
If we lose the Bobby, then we just gotta call it a day. Yeah, how you feeling? I know you said like you had like a head cold that made you lose your voice fully for like a month, basically. So how'd that go?
Yeah, about as well as last time. Yeah,
We've had a lot of things like stop this podcast this year. It's like the universe trying to actively like come together to bring it to a halt.
Man, I'm telling you, it's when you have two kids. I mean, one kid is a walking petri dish. I've got two kids that are in two separate classes of 24 kids. I've got sporting events I'm going to. Jeff, I'm a sports dad now. Like,
yeah, so you've it seems like every time I talk to you, you're at like a basketball game or a basketball practice. And Ron, you hate sports. So are you just in agony the entire time? Like, I need more details on this.
I don't hate sports. I don't understand sports.
Okay.
And like basketball and baseball I like. But I don't watch or follow any sports because I literally cannot stand sports culture. I fucking hate sports culture.
It can be pretty. I'm part of at least football culture, and I totally get how like toxic it can be.
Dude,
so I get that.
These kids are 7 years old. They are in first grade, and their parents are like shouting at them. And when they miss a pass, they literally scoff and shake their head or put their hands in their face or their face in their hands. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're supposed to be doing it for fun.
There was this kid.
if you're in college and your kid is like trying to make it to the NFL, he fucks up and he has like a shot. Yeah, that's understandable. You're just like, oh man, that fucking sucks.
There are stakes. There are literal life-changing stakes.
If they're 7, it's literally just there for like bonding with other kids and having fun. So shut the fuck up, crazy parents.
There's this kid on the team that exudes every single symptom of ADHD. And he was having issues focusing, and he was standing next to my son. They were guarding on the same side of the court. And there was a point where during the middle of the drill, the coach is setting up, the mom walks over and just like gives him a shake and like yells in his face.
Really?
Yes. And like Nathan was horrified watching this whole thing play out.
That's terrible.
And
man.
I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with all of you? I hate all of you.
Most of the kids probably barely even understand what's happening in the sport they're playing. Like
they don't know. One of the first things the coach asked day 1 of practice was like, how many of you have ever even seen a basketball game? And like 2 kids raised their hand.
Yeah.
And then you have like, there is a dad. So both of my kids are in basketball. So their basketball practices are on the same day. So those days I spend 2 hours in practice, one for each kid. And then they each have their games on Saturdays. And I'm either going to 2 games if they're close by each other, or if they're at the same time in different locations. Chris and I split up which kid we're taking where. Yeah. And so yes, I'm spending a lot of time in basketball. But there is a dad in each practice, 2 different people that think they are the coach, that walk out into the court.
That's the worst.
And just start explaining to everyone, including the coach, how the game is played. And it's like, get the fuck out of the gym, please.
Yeah, that's the worst. That is like, that's something I can't even imagine being like a coach in elementary school, or even worse. Like I think middle school would probably be like the worst time about that, because it's not high school where, it starts to become more like legitimate, where they can like seclude people away from the practices, if they want to. Yeah. But like in middle school, I bet it's even fucking worse. I couldn't imagine.
So All that being said, during the game, I'm just one of them that's like, get the ball, rebound, rebound.
Yeah,
Like
watching. So like, here's the thing too. It's like
sports live are very
sports
different.
live is totally different. Like I could never bring myself to watch a baseball game on TV, but I have a lot of fun watching a baseball game in person. It's just a totally different experience.
Yeah, I like going to the Drillers. I like going to the Oilers.
Yeah.
And there was a time, I've never seen the Thunder, but there's a time when I was dating a girl whose dad was the music professor at TU. So I got Golden Hurricane tickets for free through her.
For the basketball team or like football team? What?
Yeah, the basketball team.
Basketball.
So she and I would just go hang out at a Hurricanes game, and it cost us nothing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet. That was like the last time I was really into basketball, because the Hurricanes were like the biggest game in town basketball wise at that time, and then now we have the Thunder, which is an actual NBA pro team, and it's like Oklahoma's only pro team as far as I know in any sport. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy that
we have minor league. I mean, the Drillers are minor league, but
it's crazy with how high of a program as far as like NCAA football is concerned, like OU and OSU are.
Yeah,
that we haven't been able to get a professional team. It's kind of crazy.
I used to work at a call center, and like you can't say what city you're in, but you can say what state if people ask. And occasionally you get like that one guy that he calls in and he's like collecting where he has called, because like people get interested in where, like, what region of the country that they're speaking to a person in. And this guy asked me where he's talking to me from, and I said Oklahoma, and he was like, "Oh man, Oklahoma." Now this is pre-Thunder. This is pre-pro team. All we had was college and lower. He's like, "Oh man, Oklahoma, you guys are nuts for your college sports. Like, you guys are just nothing but college sports day in and day out. I've never understood it." And I was like, "Well, I mean, it's all we have." And there was a long pause on the other end. And he's like, and he goes, no, I mean, you guys, I mean, no, because that is all you have, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, that's the only thing we have. And he was like, huh. Like, I just totally blew this guy's brain.
You know what's like also like fucked up is like, not only does Oklahoma not have one, Los Angeles has 2 NFL teams, Ron. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Do they really? I didn't know
Los
that.
Angeles over the last few years. So the Rams used to be in St. Louis, and then they moved to LA. And then I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Chargers moved from San Diego to LA. So they share the same fucking LA stadium, and they just alternate who gets like a home game.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude,
and they have the San Francisco 49ers in California. So California has fucking 3 teams, and Oklahoma doesn't have one. So that's kind of bullshit.
I've never really followed hockey at all, like religiously, but I would watch it when it was on TV, and I would go to Oilers games with my dad. And I've actually been really interested in following the Vegas Golden Knights, because they're like one of the newest teams in the NHL, and like for a while they've been killing it.
They also sound like a group Dark Souls boss,
right? The Golden Knights.
The Golden Knights.
So my understanding, and like I said, I don't follow the sport, but I listen to a couple of podcasts that the guys are hardcore into sports and talk sports all the time, and then they'll go back to like movies or TV, or one of them does video games also, but they're one of their passions is sports of all kinds, and they talk about all the sports. And my understanding that I've gotten through them is that what happened is during the NHL draft, all the people that got rejected went to Vegas, because Vegas was like, we'll take you. We're making a team. And you all of a sudden had this team that was brand new, full of people that had something to prove.
That is literally like a movie, you know?
It really is.
It's crazy.
And, yeah, we need to call Kurt Russell back and have him play the coach, because, yeah, Yeah, it was nuts. Like that was my understanding is that you have all these people that were rejected by all the other professional teams, and Vegas was in the middle of building the Golden Knights, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll take you. Just come on over."
That's so
And they
cool.
did, and then they dominated like that first year. They completely dominated, is my understanding. But I caught them a couple nights ago, and it was a pretty good game. Like they were just getting in there and just destroying everyone.
I just have a hard time watching hockey as far as like it makes me sound like such a fucking boomer, but I have a hard time following the puck in hockey.
It's better now than it used to be because they do all the things like football, like they're projecting shit onto the ice. And
okay, that's good because I used to not be able to like understand like what the fuck I'm even watching.
dude, there was a moment, I shit you not, because I'm an idiot, that I didn't realize just how much like football it's become. But there is it's not really overhead, but it's like the camera that's looking down on the entire arena, over the entire ice rink. And they're going back and forth, and it's just all Honda logos around the outside edge, which, I mean, if you've ever been to a skating rink, if you've ever been to a hockey rink, it's just advertisements all along. And I was just like, that's weird that it's all Honda, right? But okay. And then it changed to Geico. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is that a thing? Or is that a thing they're projecting like all the shit on the ice? And then, when it shows them going in and out of the box, there's a different camera for that. When it would switch to that camera, it was, State Farm, Farmers Insurance, like all the typical people all the way around the outside. And when it switched back to the overhead, it was Geico all the way around. And then that would change back to Honda or change to something else. I'm like, so the overhead one that shows the entire rink, they are projecting the different sponsors across the entire rink, and they can't do shit about the one that is on the box. And you see what it actually looks like. And I was like, okay, this is completely changed from the last time I watched it. But no, the puck problem is different because like anyone that's never watched hockey, the puck is not very big. It's smaller than a CD-ROM, and they are slapping the ever-loving fuck out of it.
They're so fast.
It is a very fast game, and that thing is traveling at supersonic speeds. And the camera whips over, and there's a goalie on the ground, and there's a buzzer, and like that's it. Like that's all you see. But now
sometimes it's hard to even figure out what happened in the slow motion replay. Like I would be watching SportsCenter and then have a hockey like crazy goal near the goalie on the top 10, and they would slow it down to like 0.3 speed, and I'm still like, yeah, I don't know what happened, man. I got nothing.
Yeah, when I watched it the other night, I caught the end of a game the other night. Like, it's totally different now. That's
cool.
They haven't totally fixed that problem, but they have done probably the best they can at the moment. Because like I said, they've brought a lot of football stuff in. Like how much time left in the period is projected onto the ice around where they're skating and stuff.
That's really cool.
Where it's always in your frame of view when you're watching the action. And so
your story about how like they were bringing in all the people that were rejected reminded me of. Did you ever watch The Replacements, the football movie with Keanu and Gene Hackman? I fucking love that movie.
So I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember liking it, and I heard a podcast recently talking about what an awful movie that is, and I was like,
what?
I don't remember that being bad. I kind of wanted to seek it out to watch it again.
Yeah, I don't think have we had a sports movie on this podcast?
We have not. We have not.
I would totally pick The Replacements for here at some point because the supporting cast is also really good. If you remember, like the drunk kicker, I think was like Risa Fons,
and he's a soccer player, right? That they bring in.
Yeah.
Is that the same movie? A lot of the sports movies blend together after a while.
Yeah, Favreau is in it. They have a lot of good supporting.
There's a lot of really good basketball movies too.
Yeah,
like Space Jam.
Space Jam 2.
I haven't seen that one, but
I refuse to watch Space Jam 2 because we got to get on topic of like Bobby's gonna think we're fucking delirious because we were gone a month and we talked about sports for like 15 minutes.
Right.
But I actively refuse to watch Space Jam 2 because them comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan pisses me off to this very day. And everyone who thinks LeBron's better than MJ is fucking high. It doesn't deserve to be in Space Jam 2.
When's the last time you watched Space Jam, Jeff?
Probably 1997. Do I still know like probably half the lyrics of that song though? Yes.
Yeah, I watched it 2 weeks ago.
How was it? Was it fucking atrocious?
So as an adult, I have very fond memories of it, and as still a fan of the Looney Tunes, a lot of that stuff still holds up. Michael Jordan is not a good actor, it turns out.
So he was it was closer to his acting abilities closer to his baseball skill than his basketball skill.
Which, okay, I mean, I'll give the guy this because he had to sign off on this. They make fun of his baseball abilities
baseball stuff,
through the entire movie and his golf ability.
Yeah,
they make fun of that constantly.
I think they make fun of Charles Barkley's golf ability in that movie too.
They do.
They're just got like no holds barred.
There's also a subplot of Bill Murray who wants to join the NBA.
Oh yeah, I forget Bill Murray is in that movie because like the idea of Bill Murray being in Space Jam feels like a fucking fever dream when you think about it. It's like, what is Bill Murray doing in Space Jam?
He owes someone a favor, I'm sure. But no, Bill Murray's in it and Wayne Knight's in it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, Bill Murray. There's a subplot where Bill Murray wants to be in the NBA, and then he goes in and helps the Toon Squad out. And when it's over, everyone's like, "No, we were wrong. You probably could actually do this." And he's like, "Nope, I'm retiring on top," and like limps off of the court.
The villain team is the Monstars, right?
Goddamn right.
That's a fucking awesome pun for the Looney Tune villain gang.
Yeah.
You know?
So I didn't notice this as a kid, but I had a major issue with Space Jam, Jeff.
Gotta get it on the show.
Dude, Toon Squad is TUNE on the jersey.
Uh-huh.
Explain that to me.
That's how Looney Tunes was. Looney Tunes is TUNES.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's not how I've ever seen it in my life, I don't think. At least I've never noticed it.
It's like a fucking Berenstein Bears thing. Everyone thinks it's TOONS, but like if you actually go look at the like official naming for it and like all of the posters for it and the title card, it's Looney Tunes as in TUNES.
I'm looking at it right now. You're right.
Yeah, people just don't realize it.
Huh. Interesting.
Doesn't that just like blow your mind? Because I think I also went a very, very long time before that was pointed out to me, and I was like, huh, my brain has been lying to me for 30 years.
Because I thought it was like a Beatles thing, right? But no, it turns out it is. I guess that is technically what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense because like Merry Melodies, right? Like it's always been musically based.
Yeah.
Huh.
Isn't that weird?
Well, I'm going to shut down this podcast and go to bed.
Someone didn't believe me and Googled it to verify out there, and we just blew their mind. So you're welcome.
It's something that I still watch to this day. It's not something like I haven't watched Looney Tunes since I was a kid. I still watch them. They're on HBO.
Your brain just rejects it. It just goes like in one ear and out the other. You just can't process it.
My brain autocorrects it.
Right?
Yeah. I wish it would stop.
Another of the Mandela effect things was like a lot of people refuse to believe that Chick-fil-A is CHICK. A big portion of people believe it's CHIC filet. And
wait, what?
Chick-fil-A is CHICK.
Yeah.
Instead of CHIC, and that's one of the Mandela effect things where like a lot of people refuse to believe.
People think it doesn't have the K.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think that it has the K.
Huh.
And that's just like, I think part of that is just like a trick of like their weird cursive-y logo, you know? Like it just kind of like blends in because it's just a bunch of like squiggles. Pretty much it's a really shitty logo when you really look at it.
It might be because I've seen that logo so fucking much because we had a partnership with them at the movie theater I worked at. Mm-hmm. They had an ice chest that had the logo on the side of it. They would bring over an ice chest full of those fucking awful sandwiches that everybody inexplicably likes. And then we would give them just a fuck ton of movie tickets that they took back across the street. So we were just straight up trading movies tickets for food, like management was. And then the ice chest would sit in the break room. And then the next day they would just come back and collect their ice chest. So I guess I just have been in an environment surrounded by that logo so much. I had no idea that there was like any kind of controversy about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I also just got a text because Aurora is listening in, and she said that her phone autocorrects it to CHIC when she spells out Chick-fil-A, but she's not sure if that's the Android phones being wrong or if that is her like like where you develop your own autocorrects based on like what you typically type. So she's not sure if the brand name is fucked up on Android or if
it's
she
got to be on Android because I just tested it on you.
Yeah, she's an Android, so she's not sure if the Android autocorrect is fucked up or if she fucked it up with what she usually types. Sounds pretty funny.
You know what's driving me nuts now that I'm looking at it?
Looney Tunes?
The FIL in Chick-fil-A is lowercase.
Oh, isn't it a garbage logo? Like the fucking half-ass. This is like
there's so much more that's garbage about that company we could be talking about than their logo.
I know, Rod. I will eat Chick-fil-A. I think it's insane that people wait in line for like 5 years and they make their fucking employees wait outside to like attend people, and that makes me want to like set the building on fire because that is just disgusting to me.
And then there's their politics and the way they treat their employees.
Their overhead is just ran by fucking conservative pieces of shit, and they're the worst. Yeah.
Especially if you are female or of color working there. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, it's bad. But why don't we talk about some movies, man?
You know what's not bad?
Bobby got a treat. Bobby got like 15 minutes of us talking about sports. That's never gonna fucking happen again.
And we almost ventured into politics before you pulled the plug.
Yeah. Red alert.
Segue.
The replacement segues. Also, just to confirm, like as I'm pretty sure everyone can tell by what I was saying, I don't condone Chick-fil-A. They're ran by pieces of shit. The food itself, I will eat, but yeah, it's ran by pieces of shit.
Yeah,
and who have terrible politics. So
absolutely.
Ron.
Yep.
What? I think we probably talked about it, but it's been like a fucking month ago, so I don't fucking know. What made you elect to have the Replacement Killers on the podcast?
It's been a while since I've seen it. I mean, 20-something years probably, and I don't know. I just I just felt like it. Like, it's been on my list for a little bit, and we've had a really good run of some solid movies here. I just thought about getting back on some of my bullshit.
Back on some of your bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, come on. The Witch and Underwater and Event Horizon and Body Snatchers and Nope and Predator 2 and Children of Men and Airplane. That's our last several episodes.
What a run.
I've been on my best behavior, Jeff.
I don't know. The first half of Predator 2 would say otherwise.
Oh, it's glorious.
The first half of Predator 2 fucking sucks.
The first half of Predator 2 the best half.
Although it was worth watching just to have the two loose cannon fucking captain speeches, because I fucking adore that.
I heard one the other day that I made a mental note to bring up on the podcast, and I'm trying to remember. You're a wreck looking for a place to happen.
Interesting. Where did you hear this at?
I'm trying to remember. I was watching something. I'm gonna Google it real quick. You vamp.
You're a goddamn loose cannon, but you're the best goddamn cop on this force, and you get results. My hands are tied. Yeah. I like Predator 2, but not for the first half, so I will have to agree to disagree with Rod on this one.
Let's see.
It's also still throwing me off that your Discord profile picture is your drawing, because I got so used to Donald Sutherland screeching at me that not seeing Donald Sutherland screeching at me is throwing me for a loop. So there's that.
Yeah. I kind of, I don't know why, I was just going through my phone pictures just looking for something, and I ran across our Drawful prompt that I saved, and I was like, the more I look at this, and then I uploaded it to Twitter and Discord, and it sailed right by everyone for a couple of days, and then I sent you something in Discord, and I got one message responding to the thing I sent, and immediately got, is that your Drawful image?
Yeah, it's like your fucking Nick Fury penguin. I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh man. Yeah, it's so good. Let's see. I'm looking through HBO because I've been watching a lot of stuff on HBO. What was I fucking watching? How do you look at shit that you've
I
like
think
watch again?
the interface of HBO Max/Max/ whatever the fuck it's called now fucking sucks.
It's
Have you
so
ever tried?
bad.
Have you ever tried to fast forward like to a later section of a movie on HBO Max?
Oh, it's so
It
bad.
doesn't let you go into like super fast forward. You have to go like 10 seconds at a time by fucking spamming your remote like you're trying to build a fucking building in Fortnite, dude. It is so stupid. Like who designed that shit? It's 2023. Y'all have revamped that app like 5 times, renamed it like 4 times, and you don't have ×4 fast forward? Why can't I prepare to fast forward, Ron? What is that?
Disney Plus has an issue with fast forwarding and rewinding too. You can basically only jump ahead or jump back by 10 seconds. So what we do is we use the remote app on our phone, and then you can
Drag it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can. I don't know why I can't think of this word, but yeah, you can just pan through it.
Another funny one that's like fucked up. I think they fixed it, but at first, the Peacock app had like the opposite effect of Max, where if you tried to rewind, you found it was like quantum leap. Like I'd be in like a different fucking person's body. It went so fast, and I could never rewind it to like a specific section I wanted like 15 seconds prior. It was basically like, oh, you're watching the show. Do you want to restart it from the beginning in a nanosecond? Here you go. You're welcome. It just blows my mind that we have like 20 of these apps and 90% of them are dog shit. It's like just fucking copy the other one that works.
They hit the good enough stage and just put it out and then do nothing else with it.
It sucks.
Especially Max.
What you're trying to find.
I don't think I can find it.
You're a fucking loose cannon, Ron, but you get results, but not this time.
It's gonna drive me nuts too. I don't know what the fuck I was watching. I think I think as we podcast, I'm just gonna pan through all the movies that are on. I'm just gonna go to the Show Me All.
It's so funny. You're just gonna scroll through like all 1,500 options on HBO Max, and then find out at the very end it wasn't even on HBO Max. So you just like scrolled the catalog for no reason.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So this is The Replacement Killers. This is, I believe we discussed how it was Antoine Fuqua's like first feature length movie, right?
Yes.
As a director. Yeah. People will recognize Antoine Fuqua from movies like the Magnificent Seven remake, Southpaw, Training Day, The Equalizer recently. He's done a bunch of good stuff. I like Antoine Fuqua quite a bit. Especially the second Equalizer was okay. I really like the first one. I still gotta get around to watching the third one though.
When the third one came out, my reaction was, "There's a second one."
Yeah, the second one it's not the best, but it's got Pedro Pascal, so
ooh,
it's pretty good.
Is he the villain?
Yeah, he's the villain.
Ooh.
They try to hide it, but I'm just like, bro, you have Pedro Pascal in this movie. It like,
and he's like hot shit at the time.
Oh yeah. It was like after like Mando had started. I think it's just like he's the fucking villain, dude. Why are you playing coy with this? Also, there's no other character that could be the villain. So like, why are you being coy with this? There's like literally no other option. It has to be this dude.
Hey, so funny. Not to derail us further, I have a question.
Okay.
What is this dude's name real quick? Bill Hader. Why is it on the poster for every movie he's in, it's just him staring directly at the camera like he's very confused as to why he's in this movie?
I don't know.
Just go look up a list of Bill Hader movies.
What got you on Bill Hader's page?
Because he's in a movie that was just added to Max. And
gotcha.
We just watched Noel with the kids, and he's Santa Claus in that.
Gotcha. I'm having a hard time finding it because like his photos are just like snippets from movies instead of like posters. So, but I believe you.
Yeah, it's just always him staring directly at the camera like he's absolutely confused.
Interesting.
I guess that's his MO. I don't know.
He's great in that Barry show though. I think you'd really like Barry if you've never seen it.
I have a hard time with Bill Hader though.
Really? I've always liked Bill Hader a lot.
I have a hard time with him in real life and in shit that he's in. So
why do you have a problem with him in real life?
I've never heard anything good about him.
Interesting.
Everyone that I've ever heard that has experienced the Bill Hader experience, it's usually just him being drunk and belligerent.
Interesting. I have never heard any of this, but the show that he's in, Barry, is very good.
I will take your word for it.
Let's see. The Replacement Killers. I'm getting my fucking shitty. Speaking of like fucking websites and apps that suck, IMDB still sucks to this very day, even though it's been a thing since like what 1992.
Yeah.
So that's great. Ken Sanzel is the writer for The Replacement Killers. Is there anything else this guy has done of note? I was scrolling through earlier. I didn't really see much. It seemed like he kind of pivoted to working in a lot of like TV. Like he wrote for like Blue Bloods. Was a consistent writer for the TV show Numbers, which for like TV crime sitcom type stuff was actually like not bad.
Other than the Equalizer franchise, he seems to have pivoted to TV. And I would understand if he was like directing all the episodes or was like showrunner, because the consistent paycheck is usually better than chasing the high paying Hollywood job. It's like a hodgepodge of stuff that he's selected or been selected for.
Oh, I was talking about the writer. I was talking.
Oh, you're talking about the writer? I thought you were talking about Fuqua.
No, Ken Sanzel wrote The Replacement Killers and then pivoted to being a predominant TV writer. As far as like Fuqua stuff, I thought Fuqua was still mostly doing film. What others like TV stuff had you seen?
I don't know. I maybe just be
getting them mixed up.
Yeah. I did all this research a few days ago, and I think I'm confusing it in my head.
Yeah, so forgive
God damn it, Jeff, I've been sick. What do you expect from me?
You're supposed to be a loose cannon that gets me results. What the fuck? Forgive me the plot details of the movie itself, because I watched the movie we're going to talk about like 3 weeks ago, and I remember not enough of it to do a full hour and a half podcast, so it's probably a good thing that we vamped about sports for 30 minutes, so that'll make up for some of the time.
The plot is something that I find interesting, especially for the era this was made in, if I'm being honest.
Just real quickly, spoilers for The Replacement Killers. I'll let you kind of pivot into. Why don't you continue your point about the what you found interesting about the plot, and then we'll go back to finishing out the cast.
The main hero's plot wraps up at the end of Act 2. He's totally finished. He's totally done, and he has like an optional side quest of
yeah, he does,
of going back in and protecting the kid or not, right? Like just ending the whole thing or what. But technically, he's gotten everything that he wanted. He can get back to China and protect his family. And Mira Sorvino throws the point out that walking away and doing nothing is the same as pulling the trigger. And he's too honorable, given that he's a hitman and everything, but he's too honorable to like kind of let that stand. Yeah. So he goes on the optional mission of going back into the third act. But technically, his story ends in the second act. He's done.
Wouldn't he also benefit though from killing the dude? Because that way he's not just like constantly on the run with his family. Because like wouldn't that happen? So like let's like run down the hypothetical. Like if he just dipped at the ending of the second act, wouldn't he be like on the run with his family? Because like that dude would never stop trying to kill him.
It's true, but I think an argument could be made that he knows how to disappear as well.
True.
Because they literally show him disappearing like a fucking ghost.
Yeah, he's like Batman. When he just like disappears from the frame sometimes.
Yeah. So
I just found it interesting that didn't come up as like a counterpoint in their discussions. It was like purely about the kid, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, like you're fucking, Batman and can disappear and shit, but like it's gotta suck for your family, making your family go on the run forever to not get murdered.
So this movie is not to John Wick what I talk about all the time with like the Rocketeer to Iron Man, but I think this movie is kind of the proto John Wick in that this character definitely has like kind of the same skill set and kind of the same attitude as John Wick. I don't think there's any doubt in his mind that he can kill anyone that comes for them and keep his family safe at all times. Yeah, it's not the best life, but as we have seen in this movie, his confidence is warranted, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my biggest reaction to this is also tied in with John Wick, in that like John Wick being as good as it was kind of like ruined every other movie in the genre of like
John
super
Wick,
style,
the John
super
Wick genre.
the John Wick's like its genre of like super stylized assassin, the like what would you call like gun fu, that type of like thing.
Yeah.
Because like I run into the issue when I'm watching this movie. This movie is not bad by any means, but I could just be rewatching John Wick and having a better time. Even rewatching like the sequels and having like a
Except
better time.
in 1998, this is what you had.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you have to like judge the movie on like two axes, where it's like it's not fair to compare it to John Wick, because John Wick, you know, is a fucking masterpiece that came out like what 15 years later.
Yeah.
But also I can't help but compare the two because it's John Wick and it just so fucking made everything else in that genre look like shit by comparison. Like the action scenes in this movie are like by no means shot bad, but like
So
when you've seen an action scene in John Wick, nothing else just like can compare. It's almost unfair what they did to like other entries of the genre of stylized assassin kung fu movies.
I don't know if you mentioned this in the casting or not, because I was fighting with my Apple TV at the moment.
Oh, I haven't started the cast yet. We just done the writer and director.
Oh, okay. One of the executive producers is John Woo, which totally fits, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons that Chow Yun-fat is in the movie, right?
Yes.
He was producing it.
I think also for his first Hollywood movie, Chow Yun-fat did amazing in this.
Wasn't as good as his Dragon Ball Evolution performance, but nothing could top that.
I'm honestly wondering how well he knew English at this point, because like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, all their first movies, they were just repeating the lines said to them. They didn't know what any of the words meant when they said them, because they didn't speak English in their
Weren't
first
they just flat
movies.
out like? Wasn't like Schwarzenegger like or like John Claude? One of them was just like flat out dubbed by like necessity.
That
in
might
one of their
be
movies.
that might be Van Damme, because like in the Conan the Barbarian movies, like Arnold has like 0 lines. He has just a handful of lines because they are feeding him his lines because he doesn't speak English.
With Terminator, they did that as well, right?
Yes.
Because he also the first Terminator, that was what like super early 80s, and he obviously only has like 2 lines in that entire movie.
Yeah, and Jackie Chan has talked about that same thing before. Also, the reason Jackie Chan just as an aside speaks as well as he does and uses slang and stuff is he literally learned English from TV.
That's awesome.
Like
I fucking love Jackie Chan, man.
Yeah, he literally just used the TV to learn how to speak English. So like you'll hear everyone else, you know, they don't sound like a textbook, but it's like more of like a proper English. Like they speak English better than we do. Jackie Chan sounds like us because he just learned it from TV.
What's also awesome about Jackie Chan is like specifically with like Steven Seagal and Van Damme and like Sylvester Stallone, their type of character and like their own ego just turn them into just complete fucking scumbag humans for the majority of their careers. Jackie Chan has just always come across as like a lovable dork.
There's no
Like-
reason why Jackie Chan shouldn't be feeling the same way they do, but
He's just
for whatever
he's
reason,
just like a genuinely good human. He's
Well,
just like a good guy.
I think it's just the basis of his personality, because there's a really good documentary by the History Channel I recommend. I own it on iTunes if you ever want to watch it, Jeff. It's really good.
Nice.
It's how Bruce Lee changed the world. They used to have this series of how so-and-so changed the world or how this thing changed the world. And one of them is how Bruce Lee changed the world. And like Bruce Lee was a pioneer in a lot more shit than you could ever imagine he was. But they interview a bunch of celebrities, like Eddie Griffin and just a whole bunch of people about Bruce Lee. And when they get to Jackie Chan and they start talking about like when Bruce Lee died, the Chinese filmmakers came to Jackie Chan and told him he's going to be the next Bruce Lee. Because remember, they had those knockoff Bruce Lee movies where there was lookalikes pretending to be Bruce Lee? That's what they wanted him to do. And he kept turning them down time and time and time again because he was like, no, I'm not Bruce Lee. There's one Bruce Lee. I'm not Bruce Lee. He's a superhero. I am not. He's like, he punches a guy, that guy goes down. He's like, I want to punch a guy and it hurts my hand, and I shake my hand to the camera because it hurt me to punch him. Like, he's like, that's the guy I want to be. And no matter how serious of a movie Jackie Chan is in, and no matter how serious his character is, there's always some hint of comedy somewhere in what he does. And I think it's just his personality. I think he can't help
agree,
it.
yeah.
I think it's kept him grounded. Because all of his movies, he gets humbled somehow by someone. Because he will get the shit beat out of him by someone in a movie, and that never happens to Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, like the exact opposite was happening with like Seagal and like Van Damme and like Sylvester Stallone, which is like so weird. Like Sylvester Stallone is like the really weird one, because Sylvester Stallone's like career began based on John Rambo and Rocky being like down to earth real people. And then he got like so overinflated with his own ego that he turned himself into this like cinematic like superhero god that couldn't be touched. And it's just like,
in a way,
he totally missed like what made the beginning of his career special, just completely.
In a way, though, like I have to imagine that has to be fun to see yourself on the screen like that.
Oh, absolutely. But it's just it's a shame from like the standpoint that like the first Rocky and like the first Rambo are genuinely good movies. And then you fast forward to like the ending of his career and he's doing shit like the Expendables. And it's just like you completely lost the mark on like, I guess he got like a little bit of it back. The way his character is portrayed in Creed actually brings him back down to earth. Have you seen Creed?
No.
So the story of his character in Creed is like that Rocky has cancer. And it is, you know, like the main character kind of like having him be the stand-in kind of father figure who's also, you know, dying of cancer. And he becomes like this really grounded character again. So, but then 5 years after that, he's doing fucking Expendables 4. And I'm just like, I can't get it like a beat on Sylvester Stallone.
I mean, just seeing yourself on the screen as Rambo, that has to be like something that you chase after a while because you just love seeing yourself on screen like that, right?
Yeah, but that only happened after the second movie because like the first Rambo, like it's about his fucking trauma as a fucking like he's got survivor's guilt from being in the war, and like the first Rambo is meant to be this like really heartbreaking. Like he originally fucking died in the script in the first Rambo. Like it was supposed to be like a really really heartfelt, down to earth story about like survivor's guilt and like soldiers PTSD and everything, and then he turned it into a fucking cartoon where they literally had like a fucking Saturday morning cartoon, like a video game off of it. And it's just like Rambo is kind of fucked up when you think about it, like what it turned into.
I have a PSA, Jeff. I'm still scrolling through here trying to find what the fuck I watched because it's driving me insane.
You're not gonna be able to figure it out until we're done recording, so you might as well just move on.
However,
you'll find it like the second we hit like hang up on the Discord call.
I'm sure. However, I did find something important that people need to know.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the like Yule log phenomenon on TVs, like the fireplaces?
Yes.
HBO has a Calcifer Yule log.
That's amazing. I love that.
Right? Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle, for those that don't know, Billy Crystal's character, the little fire, you can have him on your TV for like 10 hours.
I'm probably going to do that. That's like too awesome to pass up. It's great.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that idea, give them a raise, because that's ingenious.
Right.
So what's your opinion of like Chow Yun-fat in this movie? Because I think Chow Yun-fat is fine.
Yeah.
But I really like the reveal later on, as far as like he was hired to kill the kid. I think that adds like a lot more kind of subtext to his character, because until that happened, I just found him to be kind of like charming enough, and yeah, you're not really watching like the replacement killers for like character development, but I just kind of felt like he was a little bit underwritten as like a main character, because like what happens with like John Wick, the first 20 minutes of the movie, you are so on board to watch Keanu kill 10,000 dudes. You are so emotionally invested in the beginning of John Wick because it's so fucking well done and so simple. I have really no reason to latch on to the character of John Lee in this movie. So I was curious like what your kind of thoughts were on him.
So I have a biased opinion, number one, because I love Chow Yun-fat.
I like Chow Yun-fat too. That's something against him. It's just the writing.
But I really like John Lee. Um, John Wick, I liked because of what was happening on screen. But and as you know, in the first movie, there's a pretty good reason to root for John Wick. Uh, I didn't find a really good reason to root for him other than just mayhem until the end of the last movie. Where I don't know if we want to say what happens.
Yeah, try to dance around it just in case someone out there hasn't
But
watched it all.
with the end of the last movie, it kind of puts into context like this is what he wanted and this is what he was trying to do the entire time.
Mhm.
Whereas with John Lee, it's like, okay, so you're like the honorable killer. You were forced into this. You're the unwilling killer who skipped out on your last job. That's a little bit more compelling to me motivation wise, especially the reveal that this target was the kid and not
That reveal is super cool
And
because
not-
I did not put two and two together when I was watching this.
not the incredibly distracting idea of Michael Rooker as a good guy. I don't think I've ever seen Michael Rooker as a good guy outside of this movie. But yeah, because what's good about that scene is how much his crosshairs go back and forth between him and the kid. And you kind of take it just for movement, right? He's moving, they're moving. He's not lining up the shot quite yet when you're looking through it, but every time it flashes back to that scene, especially after he's talked about the kid was the target, you notice the crosshairs float more towards the kid more often than not.
Yeah,
it's
a
really
cool
neat.
sleight of hand as far as like the direction and deciding like what parts of the, because it's pretty abstract. I can imagine like what is written on the page as far as like what you're describing as far as reading the script.
Yeah.
It's probably more abstract, so like that has to be kind of like very very carefully displayed as far as like the editing and what like Foucault wants you to see, because I feel like I should have figured that out and didn't.
It's a really good subversion because of course the guy wants the cop dead. You're not even gonna think about it. You're not gonna question it.
Yeah, so like that reveal is a really cool reveal and added a lot of subtext like retroactively to the movie. But the problem is like that reveal happens at like an hour in, and at that point I had already kind of like the movie has already like passed us by at that point, and I'm not able to get, it's like a cool twist, but that twist can't make me go back in time and be more like emotionally attached to the main character, if that makes sense. So it's like I almost feel like on a rewatch that would completely change the way you feel about him as a character, but on the first viewing, not having seen the movie, by that point I was like, oh, that's a fucking cool twist, and it like caught me off guard, and it's a really cool moment, but it didn't like fully revamp my thinking of him as a character.
Yeah, up until that point, the only motivation you're really thinking about is his mother and sister, right?
Yeah.
Because he's talked about them, but he hasn't talked about anything else really.
I think this movie should have had some type of scene or like more involvement of the members of his family he's trying to like save, because never showing them or not really ever like having him interact with them that much, if at all. I can't remember if they have like a
no, they don't at all. I don't think
they need to be more involved to make you like feel more emotional attachment to me. They at least need like a flashback or something to show him with the family. That way they're not just people on like a photograph. They're very abstract as motivations. They're just there. They're not full blown characters, which I think is kind of a mistake.
I feel like that's a time thing. I feel like they've trimmed a lot of fat off of this movie.
True. Yeah, this movie's what, like 90 minutes?
It's
like,
not even. It's an hour 27. It's just shy of 90 minutes.
Lean as fuck.
So, and once it gets going, it doesn't really slow down a whole lot. It pauses for a breather every once in a while, but then someone with a shotgun shows up. So,
what are your thoughts on Mira Sorvino and her character Meg Coburn in this?
I think with the characters, back to your first question about Sharon Fat and Mira Sorvino. I think this movie is made at a weird time because this movie is trying real hard to be like Ninja Assassin or like any of your Rambo type movies, but also having a more, I don't want to say complicated or complex story because it's a simple story, but it's a good story. I don't. The story is mainly good because of its simplicity. So I don't know, but the characters in it are kind of two dimensional, as those type of movies usually are, but with a three-dimensional story to it. It's in a weird place in time, like
Yeah,
we've talked about
yeah.
with Lord of the Rings and stuff.
I totally agree. Like her, so they really kind of like walk the tightrope as far as them being like romantically interested in each other, which I actually like because the majority of movies around this time would just have them full blown be romantic interests.
There'd be a sex scene.
Yeah, and like I think it's kind of cool that she's like presented as being the kind of like stand-in femme fatale character, but then she's really not.
What?
Like they don't they but then I feel like they almost like lean in too much by the end of like kind of hinting at them like being potentially romantically involved, but then it's also cool that they don't have them ever be romantically involved. It's a very weird like tightrope they're walking in this movie for me.
What I would like to know is how much China had to say over the development of this movie, because it takes place in Chinatown. It's not in China. And it is a really weird walk between an American action movie and a Chinese action movie. And it falls into tropes of both types of movies. So between those two characters, right, you've got Chow Yun-fat, who's quiet and reserved, and his confidence is very warranted. He's very good at his job, despite the fact he doesn't want his job. Mira Sorvino could take me out in a fight in this movie, but she is loudmouth, talking tough, and she's holding her own, but her skills do not live up next to him at all, right? She's not unskilled, but she's definitely not like Hitman level. So I don't know, like it's walking a really weird line between the two types of filmmaking, and it's literally just meshing them together. And like the whole movie is about him trying to get to China, but it's not really taking place in China. There's a lot of Asian actors mixed in with white actors, and no one talks about it, like working for each other and with each other. There's a lot going on culturally in this movie, and I think it's a weird culture line that we're talking about. I think where these two are meeting, right?
Yeah, they also have to run into the mostly Hispanic gang because it's a like movie set in the late 90s, and that's just like literally like all they did.
Yeah,
which is kind of like now is like a little that's a little gross.
It's funny how
but
we talk about it's in Chinatown. No one says where. No one says it's L.A. Michael Rooker never says he's LAPD. No one ever puts a name to the city we're in. I think it's L.A. We've got Chinatown. We've got the Hispanic gangsters. We've got all the 90s tropes of L.A. happening.
But it's abstract. It could almost be fucking Baltimore, dude. Like,
yeah.
It is.
They don't talk about it.
It's weird how like abstract the setting is. It's very weird
for people that don't follow news or anything. Like your movies like Pacific Rim and stuff are made in partnership with China, and I think this is the period in time when China is breaking into American movie making, and they hadn't quite figured out how to work together, and China was still loosening up a little bit. They haven't loosened up, but they're a lot more loose today about movies and stuff than they were back then. And I really wonder how much China was involved in the development of this movie. I mean, a lot of the vagueness and abstractness, I think, kind of lends to its strengths a little bit, because really they don't matter and they would just kind of get in the way of what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's a really weird intersection is the word I've been looking for this whole time.
I almost wonder if it wasn't specifically from China, but just from John Woo himself, because he's an executive producer on this. He got Chow Yun-fat into the movie, so he has pull in the movie. And it was also Antoine Fuqua not being Antoine Fuqua yet. So I almost wonder if like John Woo had like a lot of sway as to like the establishment of the tone and the setting and the characters and everything. Because like to your point, like it feels like a mishmash of 90s domestic assassin movies and 90s like Eastern movies like Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff like other Chow Yun-fats. It's very odd, and it probably sounds like
it's Hard Boiled. Yes, Hard Boiled is that one. Okay, we've brought it back to Hard Boiled. I'm so happy.
Was that the one that had the kid on the poster?
It's the one with the baby.
Yeah. I feel like I should have seen Hard Boiled by now, but I don't think I've ever actually seen Hard Boiled.
Oh, we're gonna at some point.
Just because of the fucking poster.
Just because of the fucking poster.
It probably comes across like I'm very negative about this movie. I don't like actively dislike this movie at all. I think it's fine. It's just I found myself like bewildered a good chunk of the movie, and it's a shame I can't delete John Wick from my brain. So like the whole time I'm just like, yeah, could be watching John Wick right now. It's just like, well, I can't delete that from my memory. I can't fully detach from it, even though I should to be objective, but I can't because they're so similar in their style of like movie and everything.
So what's interesting is this movie is very different than what I remember in that it has a plot structure. So like in 1998, I was 13 at best when this came out. I really remember it being in like the pulp kind of category of like Ninja Assassin or something, where there's literally no plot and we're just gonna shoot them up essentially. This movie has a lot more going on than I remember it having. And
it doesn't have like the amount of action scenes you would expect it to.
No, so that was one of the things I have in the notes. The way I described it, the John Wick comparison is very apt for my description here. My exact note is this movie has a weird relationship with violence in that it is a violent movie, but does not seem to glorify or revel in the violence. Like, it shows you violence happening, but like when we're gonna shoot someone in the face, we cut away from it. It's a rated R movie. I don't know how much of that is Chinese box office, like rating mandates.
Yeah, because if they're wanting this movie to play both here and in China, they would have to have like stricter limits on how much violence you can portray, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the things? Like, there's always like so many movies get banned in China because they have very strict limits on like what you can put on screen. So that would make sense that like Fuqua might have, been wanting to be a little bit more, traditional as far as like domestic standards on what like most American audiences are expecting in there. Because like you think about around this time, like wasn't 1998 like the year that like Saving Private Ryan came out? Like we were in the 90s, like we were not shying away from violence at all.
Yeah, like it's a violent movie. Yes, 1998 was Saving Private Ryan. It is a violent movie. There is a lot of violent things that happen, but none of it seems, oddly enough, malicious. Like, but it's not violence for violence sake either. All the violence in this movie serves a purpose. And when it happens, there's not a lot of gore related to it. Whereas in like John Wick, the violence is the spectacle. That's why you're buying a ticket at the box office, is to see just exactly how John Wick is going to fuck these people up this time.
Specifically the sequels.
Yes.
I think the sequels turn into this is
that fucking knife fight in the second one, or is it the third one? Which one is that goddamn knife fight that they just keep passing the same knife back and forth inside the museum?
I think that's the second one.
I was thinking it was the second one too.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is like the sequels. The sequels are just roller coaster rides.
Yeah.
The first one to me is a legitimately like great movie because the first one is still trying to like establish like the world building. It does take a lot of time to like make you invested in its main character. There's more going on as far as like your traditional movie making techniques and like writing techniques in the first one. The sequels just are full blown murder roller coasters. You're just along for the ride, like you said.
Yeah.
So this is weird in how it like falls into like a no man's land in like so many areas. It doesn't make it bad. It just also doesn't make it great, and it puts it in like a very weird spot for me where like I can't like I don't actively like this movie, and I also can't find anything to dislike about it. It's just kind of in no man's land.
Well, it has some other similarities in my mind with John Wick also. So like John Wick has a very distinct style of humor, usually involving him falling down stairs again and again and again and again.
Those scenes in the fourth one had me fucking dying.
And him. He just gets to the very top and then gets knocked down. He just and immediately starts running back up.
It's so funny.
My favorite one's the second one when him and who is it, Common? They land in the Continental after falling down like 4 flights of stairs.
Oh, or when they're in like the I forget where they are, but they're subtly trying to shoot at each other with the suppressed guns without like drawing attention. There's a lot of like really silly but amazing things that happen.
Yeah, so like that stuff, you're meant to laugh at that stuff, right? It is a very distinct style of comedy. This movie has the car wash scene and him on the creeper coming out of the mist. And it's the same kind of thing. Like it's a legit cool scene, but you're also meant to laugh at it, especially when he rolls up underneath the guy and the guy looks down and sees him right as he shoots him when he's rolling through the mist on the creeper in the car wash.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to be badass and you're meant to laugh at it simultaneously, the same way you are in John Wick with certain things.
I almost wish that this movie had just been and I love Fuqua. I almost wish this movie had just been directed by John Woo.
Yeah.
I think this movie is being like too much of a like push and pull between differing like viewpoints on like what the movie and the tone should be, to where it ends up just being like this weird hybrid of so many different types of like movies and tones and settings. And I don't know, it's really weird. I think this is like a fascinating one to like go back and watch now, because like you said, like the lens through which you watched this movie in 1998 is so drastically different now,
right?
That it is really interesting to think about, like just how much like time passing can change your viewpoints of a movie.
I actually ended up liking this movie more because my memory of it was not accurate.
It was very like you viewed it as like a very shallow experience when it had more depth to it.
Exactly.
Kind of like, yeah.
So I actually ended up liking this movie more than I already did. It's what's interesting about it, I'm trying to imagine what this would be like if it was directed by John Woo, and I don't think I would like it as much. I like John Woo. I like John Woo movies. But where this thing sits in that weird fucking place of just intersecting every kind of genre that is crammed into it is kind of why I like it. Because like I said, it's a violent movie that doesn't really glorify or revel in it. And it also kind of does the same thing with action. It's got really good action sequences, but like a kaiju movie, it's trying to focus on the characters more than the action sequences. Whereas like a John Woo movie is like, I love John Woo movie because fast-paced action, huge explosions, loud explosions. Yeah. Like it's just pure spectacle beginning to end. And I think that would turn this movie into exactly what it is not, which is just another one of those movies that it is kind of a weird mishmash of. I don't know.
It's tough to say, because I almost wish that it had been directed by John Woo, just because then it would have more of like a singular identity and have more understanding of like what it is.
Yeah.
Because this feels like it doesn't really know like what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's anyone's like fault. I just think that's what happens when you have so many differing like viewpoints going into it. Because like what's like interesting is like I think part of the reason this ends up being like such a weird like tug of war of a movie is because this is like Chow Yun-fat's first domestic Hollywood film, right? This is like his debut essentially in Hollywood. This is Antoine Fuqua getting a shot to direct. Meanwhile, they have John Woo kind of like overseeing everything and probably wanting the movie to be one of his movies. So I would really like to be like a fly on the wall for some of these like production meetings and stuff, and like just like wondering how it went like on set, because it is a very interesting point in time for all these people and in their careers. Just a really strange like.
Mira Sorvino is the pull here. She's the big draw because isn't she coming off of like an Academy Award or something?
Yeah, she had won a I think Best Supporting Actress award like a couple of years prior to this.
She is supposed to be the one that pulls the American audiences in, and Chow Yun-fat is supposed to be the one that pulls the Chinese audiences in.
The movie was Best Actress in a Supporting Role in 1996 for Mighty Aphrodite, which I have not seen.
I do like her character, though. I think her character comes off a little strong, like a little abrasive, but overall, like as far as action movie one-liners and stuff goes, I think she's got some pretty solid lines. Like when the guy said he'd rather put a bullet in his head than what if he would put a bullet in his head to save her time if the stakes were reversed. And then when they are reversed, she's like, "So, are you gonna put a bullet in your head?"
Yeah, I like that she doesn't go.
I told
like,
you we're gonna have this conversation again when the gun's in my hand.
I like that she with the performance and like with like the writing of her character that it could have been obnoxious really easily with this type of character, and it's not. So that's really.
Can we talk
the rest of the rest of the cast?
Hang on.
What were you gonna say?
Okay, well, yeah, okay. I was gonna say something about one of the guys in the cast, but if we're gonna go through it, then let's.
Okay, yeah. So just like put a button on that, and then so we have Michael Rooker, who you'd mentioned, who plays Zito, who is the cop. Who I guess we should probably just like really quickly like explain like the basic plot, right? Okay, so Chow Yun-fat has been hired to get revenge for a crime boss's son who has been murdered. The movie opens up with this big, it's like a drug bust, right? Or something. It's like a drug bust or like a weapons bust, some type of like they're about to take the son of the crime boss into custody, and he ends up getting himself killed by trying to like Rambo his way out of like being totally surrounded by like 1,000 cops, and it doesn't go well for him. And then Chow Yun-fat is called in to be an assassin and you believe kill Michael Rooker, who's playing the cop.
It is the white man that shoots the Asian man, just to be clear. Which is another reason why I think China had a hand in this.
And then you think he is, there to assassinate Michael Rooker's character when in fact he was there to kill his son.
Can I clarify what I just said?
Go ahead.
If that had been opposite and the targets had been opposite, China would not allow this movie to play.
Probably not.
Like,
they're
yeah, but what I meant by that is China is very particular, let's say, about what is shown on their movie screens, and it has to all basically glorify China. So that's another reason why they make a point of just talking about Chinatown in this movie, and they're clearly not in China because Chow Yun-fat is trying to get back to China. This is an unnamed crime family. This is happening in America where we have the white guy shooting the Chinaman. This is very clearly tailored not to Chinese audiences necessarily, but to China government. And that's what I was getting at, not the racist way that could have been taken.
No, it's all good. I think people from our Chick-fil-A conversation, people can kind of tell what our politics are.
As I was sitting there thinking about what I just said, I was like, I want to
really clarify that.
I want to speak some more on that because people may not. I mean, you and I follow this shit. We read this shit. A lot of people may not. That may be why they're listening. So
yeah,
I just wanted to put that out there. Please continue.
We have Kenneth Singh, who is playing Terrence Wei. The Wei Syndicate is like the big crime boss figure in the movie. We have Jurgen Proch now making a second appearance, who was Sutter Kane in The Mouth of Madness. Very, very fucking good in this movie. He's to me like the best character because he's the most like charismatic character to me.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
This guy shows up in a lot of shit that I have watched many times.
He is so fucking charismatic in every movie he's in.
In another universe, Jeff. I mean, I don't want to lose Willem Dafoe, but this guy is Green Goblin, man.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I mean, come on. Can you imagine him as Norman Osborn?
Yeah, that'd be great. If the MCU happened in the 90s, like around the early to mid 90s, that'd be like such a good pull.
Right?
Yeah. I'd love that. We have another person making a second appearance on Screenplay Rewind. That is Till Schweiger, who was on Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, this guy drove me nuts until I finally IMDb'd him, and I'm like, oh,
he's been in 1,000 things you've seen, but he's always in the movie for like 2 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah,
it never fails.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
We also have is this Danny Trejo's first appearance on SPR? I think it might.
It is. Somehow.
Took us 6 episodes or whatever to get Danny Trejo on. I love Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo is great.
I wish he was in this movie more.
And as an actor.
I wish he was in this more. He's unfortunately. Does he even have a single line in this movie? I think he's just there. He says shooting at people. Oh, that's right. He has one line.
Which, knowing Danny Trejo, could be ad-libbed.
True. Yeah, I fucking love Danny Trejo.
Fucking love Danny Trejo. He's such a bro. Can we talk about Clifton Collins Jr.? That's the guy I wanted to...
Actually, his name in here is Clifton Gonzalez. And I saw that in the credits, and I was like...
I saw that too. I didn't realize that was him.
I was like, what the fuck? Why did you... What's... Why? I mean, I guess it's memorable when you have the same fucking name back to back. I'm just like... wondering if it's a typo in the official credits of the movie.
Right.
But yeah, Clifton Collins Jr. Is also in this movie for probably a grand total of about 5 minutes, but you could just tell the dude had fucking charisma for days because of how how insane his scenes are.
I love him as Loco though. Like, I really like Loco. But he has that face that was driving me nuts. And when I finally realized what I was thinking of, it pulled me out of the movie anytime I saw him because it was all I could think of.
Vegan Police.
Oh my God, you're right.
Oh, you didn't realize he's Vegan Police?
I did not realize.
Yeah. No vegan diet, no vegan powers, Ron. Come on, man.
That means he's also the Pacific Rim guy with the hair.
Yes.
Elvis. Doesn't he call him Elvis?
Yeah. Did you know he's also in the first Abrams Star Trek movie?
That's what I knew him from.
Yeah, he's the second in command to
he's the guy that's
Nero.
He's the guy that is choking Kirk.
Yeah, I got your gun.
I got your gun. That's him.
That's him.
Anytime I saw him in this movie, that was all I could think of as him as a Romulan.
I love that first Abrams Star Trek movie. It's so good.
I like all of those movies, and people like all just of them at
too.
Me.
The second and third one are not as good, but I still like them.
The second one's pretty fucking good.
The first one though was my favorite. But yeah, I fucking love Clifton Collins Jr. I like how this role right here, it's so funny, is like one of his very first, somewhat big supporting roles, and that's like still to this day like what he does. He's in your movie. Do you need a super fucking charismatic, likable guy to be in your movie for 5 fucking minutes? Clifton Collins Jr. is your man.
Clifton Gonzalez has you covered.
This sounds like a fucking side attorney in Better Call Saul. Like, it's so stupid.
Saul Goodman and Clifton Gonzalez.
Goodman and Gonzalez.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. We also have, I think that's the kind of heavy hitters for the movie. I'm scrolling through the rest of the cast.
Randall Duck Kim.
Oh yeah. What else?
Jeff. He's been on SPR.
What else was he in? Please. Oh, is he Gohan?
He's Gohan.
Oh shit. That's
he's
right.
Also the Keymaker.
He's the Keymaker.
He's the Continental Doctor.
Oh, that's right.
And he's Oogway.
Okay.
And Oogway is easily one of my favorite characters in Kung Fu Panda.
I fucking forgot he was in John Wick as a doctor.
Also, I've mentioned Ninja Assassin a few times. He's in that. He's in The Last Airbender.
Is he one of the most commonly like reoccurring actors on those podcasts? And I even fucking remember him being in like any of the movies.
He might be. I fucking love this man. This man is great.
He's good. He's really good.
Yeah. He's Oogway in DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing.
He's Alan. He's his buddy at the temple.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I couldn't play. Is he like bald in this? I couldn't recognize him. Okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, he's the priest.
Like,
he's the Buddha priest, the monk with the shaved head.
He looks so different without his like short haircut. I didn't recognize him.
He's fucking dapper in this picture on IMDb. He looks good.
Yeah.
The purple shirt and everything, like, yeah, he looks he looks like a very prominent businessman in this photo.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I completely like missed the mark on that being him just because of him not having hair. Like you could put a gun to my head, and I'd be like, yeah, I got nothing, man. I don't recognize him, but yeah, I like him a lot. Did we touch on the casting thing that you were wanting to think about and talk about later on?
Yes. It was Clifton Gonzalez.
God damn it. It's so good.
Hello, welcome to Screenplay Rewind. I'm Ron Huddleston. Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah. So what are some of the like memorable like scenes from this that you wanted to touch on?
Definitely the car wash scene.
Car wash scene's really good. I think the car wash scene is the best action scene of the movie.
It's a 3-mile long car wash, but it's really good.
I like the car wash scene.
I kept waiting for have you ever seen a 1,000 Ways to Die?
I don't think so.
You should check that out sometime. It's narrated by Ron Perlman. There is a guy supposedly in Oklahoma City that he snatched a purse and ran into a car wash to hide from a cop that was chasing him or something. And he ends up impaling the back of his head on a water nozzle.
I have seen this. Yeah.
And supposedly his head exploded. I kept waiting for that to happen in this, but it never did.
Also, very good car wash scene is in the remake of The Crazies. Every time I go through a car wash, I think of that scene in the remake of The Crazies. Do you remember that scene?
No, I need to watch that movie again.
Okay, yeah.
I can't believe neither one of us have put it on here because I really like that movie, but I don't remember it.
Fucking love that movie. It's the Timothy Olyphant remake of The Crazies.
It's got a really terrifying poster too. Just the pitchfork on the ground being dragged.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's really good. But I won't go into detail. That way you can watch it again. And then I think once the scene starts, once we eventually rewatch it for this show, you'd be like, oh, fuck yes, I remember the scene now. But yeah, continue with the car wash scene.
What's funny is if you... So, on IMDb, it'll start out with like the trailer for the movie you're looking at. And then it just goes off like... Here's a Chow Yun-Fat movie that's not related. Here's a Mira Sorvino movie that's not related. Here's a Michael Rooker movie that's not related because they're tagged in this page. One of them was a Chow Yun-Fat movie where he was sliding along the ground on his back, shooting away from him, like the direction he's facing, just like he was in the car wash.
Nice.
Like that is a scene from a different movie he made in China. I'm guessing it was a famous scene in China, so they recreated it here. But
nice.
Dude... The whole car wash scene, and then when he leaps onto the creeper, and then the last guy that he kills, when he just gently rolls out of the fog and shoots up at him, and then slowly rolls back into the fog.
It's really good. He also
so
just caught. I don't think there's a moment in this movie where Chow Yun-Fat doesn't have like a shit-eating grin.
I know.
It's just it's really really endearing because he has this like. This kind of like thing about him where he's just like mildly annoyed.
Yes.
And then he like shows off how good he is at fucking killing people. And it's like, he doesn't enjoy the fact that he's killing people, but you can tell he enjoys like how good at it he is.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Chow Yun-Fat falls in a really good place for me because I love Jet Li. I like watching Jet Li work, but Jet Li is always super serious, right? And his movies are usually super serious. He himself has a sense of humor about himself. He'll do the Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, right? He will do a lot of movies that you just ask him to do, but even in those movies, he is a serious character in those movies, right? Then you got Jackie Chan, that even in the most serious of movies is the comedy of the movie, even whether he's the main star or not, right? Chow Yun-fat is usually kind of in the middle. Like, if you look at something like Bulletproof Monk, for example, he's kind of right in the middle between Jet Li and Jackie Chan. He will do or say funny things, but overall, he's like a very serious character. Or like maybe he'll fight in a comical way while his character is very stoic and serious. This movie, he leans more towards the Jet Li side, but I mean, it's his first movie in Hollywood. This is very typical of Chinese filmmaking with like Hitman style movies, right?
Yeah.
Like Danny Trejo is even embodying that. Like a lot of these characters are embodying those kind of tropes. But
Yeah.
overall, like I think he falls kind of between the two of them in like watching him work and how serious he usually is in a movie versus comedy. He's usually kind of right in the middle. So I don't know. I really like Chow Yun-fat. He seems like a cool dude. I like his movies.
I like him too. I have not seen I would actually like to like just someday do like a little mini marathon and watch some of his subtitled movies like Hard Boiled, just because they have like such like a reputation about them that like I feel like I should see them as somebody who like as like invested in movies as I am. I feel like I owe it to myself to watch those, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to check those out, just because I never gotten around to watching them. But yeah, I like him a lot too. I haven't seen him in as many things as I should, but from what I've seen, I do like him quite a bit.
My dad was very excited when I told him we were covering this movie because he hasn't watched it in years either.
Did he check it out again?
I do not believe so, but he was very happy that I was doing this.
Nice. Yeah, this is like, I often talk about like the Sunday afternoon TNT movie. This is like one of the.
He's in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Oh yeah, he is in that. I totally forgot
all about that.
I really disliked that third movie when I watched it for like the first time. Maybe the only time. I really disliked the third one because all the main characters are just dicks to each other the entire time, and it's like it kind of like ruined some of the fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still baffled by that, but overall, that second and third movie are fine. They're not the first movie, but they're fine.
I think I also was just kind of like on the downward trend for them because I also didn't care for the second one nearly as much as everyone else did. Because I just really, really, really love the first one, and I feel like they never got anywhere close.
The first one is so
good.
The
sequels, because the first one is just like perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I liked my favorite part of the movie was the twists about him, actually having been assigned, because that adds like so much more interesting context to him as a character and as an assassin, because it kind of like. It lends more to like his like code as an assassin, and it just makes him more interesting. I thought, what are your thoughts on like some of the ending action scenes? I think they probably went a little bit over the top with some of like the explosion and stuff that's happening towards the end, because I think I like the car wash action better because it's a little bit more down to earth. Like it's silly at times, like with him rolling out the thing and rolling back into the mist and shit, but like. They go like a little bit, but like
again, you're
12.
meant to laugh at it too. Like they're trying to be silly with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I like the best part though is when they open the doors to let the car out and he just steps out in front of the car.
Yeah.
That is the best part of that final action scene. But that and when Mira Sorvino drives the UPS van down the vehicle hallway just like she's goddamn Ripley in Aliens or something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I liked it. I like that the final showdown with him and Danny Trejo takes place on a fire escape, just him climbing up like he's running up to like a crossbowman in Dark Souls or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually is kind of similar to like the third act of Predator 2. Remember, like a lot of the action scenes with Predator 2 were like him like going through like the rooms of the apartment building. So it's like kind of similar when he's like hanging off the edge,
Yeah.
it's just like a similar kind of thing where like I imagine like you're in your living room and fucking Chow Yun Fat walks into your living room. It's like, sorry guys, I'll be out in a minute. I gotta go kill Danny Trejo. I'll be out of here in a minute.
Oh my god! How many different ways do you think Danny Trejo has died now?
Machete, don't fire, escape.
Dude, I don't know how you don't like the Machete movies. I fucking love those movies
I
so
fucking
much.
hated the first Machete
Oh
movie
god,
so
I love them
much.
so much.
I might be able to. I don't know. I was like really hyped for the first Machete movie and then watched it and didn't like it. So like maybe if I watched it now, I would like it more. But man, I disliked it that first time I watched it.
It's so good.
I only remember the fucking intestine scene when he like fucking Batman grapple hooks with his intestines. And just like,
It's like they do the same thing in the Toxic Avenger. It said in the Toxic Avenger, he uses the guy's intestines as jump rope.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't had that in the show yet. That seems like a very Ron movie.
It is a very Ron movie, but it is so much a Ron movie, I don't know that I would put it on this show. Gary Butterfield talks about that movie a lot because of exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's very, very infamous for its insanity.
Yes.
Sure.
And then they made it into a Saturday morning cartoon for children. Just putting that out there.
Oh, there's so much shit that became a Saturday morning cartoon that is so questionable.
Rambo became a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it's about the fucking veteran dealing with PTSD. Saturday morning, get your cereal ready, kids.
Cutting people in half with a machine gun.
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hiya, kids.
Hiya, kids. I mean, meanwhile, everything now is like so fucking over the top milk toast that we've like gone the opposite direction. It's so funny.
Can I get an animated Rambo, or at least a redub of the original movies with Gilbert Gottfried as Rambo?
Oh my god.
It's still Sylvester Stallone on screen. I just want him to redub the lines.
Oh my goodness.
I just want to hiya toots in there somewhere.
They drew first blood, toots.
He can make
Jesus
some terrible
Christ.
joke about dead women in the river.
You know he would.
Yeah,
You know he would.
He did.
Yeah.
That got him canceled, quote unquote canceled.
Didn't he like kind of eventually? I feel like everyone that gets canceled eventually, it's like a temporary status where they eventually become uncanceled because people just like forget after a while.
They become famous because they're canceled.
Yeah.
Like that's the current trend in stand-up comedy. And one of the podcasts I listen to is two stand-up comedians, and their ongoing joke that they do back and forth to each other is they will say something stupid and then be like, "Hope they don't get me canceled."
It's pretty cringe.
Yeah, they do that over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a trailer for it right now. I totally forgot I wanted to talk about this. Have you ever seen The Mimic? That's going on the list.
Is that the Del Toro movie?
I don't think so.
Or am I thinking of Mimic?
What?
I might be thinking of Mimic.
What did you just say to me? Is there two mimics? Is a mimic mimicking the mimic?
I mean, the movie Mimic by Del Toro. Is that what you're referring to? Or are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm trying to look it up right
Mimic?
now, but my internet's not.
Is it about the insects and the diseases and shit?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Mimic.
Samira Sorvino. Yeah, it is Del Toro. Holy fuck.
Oh, you didn't know that was Del Toro? Yeah.
No,
it's like
I
one of
didn't
his-
know that.
Also, I didn't realize it was Mira Sorvino. Like,
Yeah, she's the
who's
lead.
in this. Yeah.
Her and Josh Brolin's in it too. He's
I didn't know
around.
Josh Brolin. Oh, F. Murray Abraham is in that. I love F.
Norman Reedus.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't know that was Del Toro.
I had no fucking. I see it now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had no idea. Yeah.
I have seen it. I remember literally nothing about it because I watched it 25 years ago. So that
The overall plot is dumb, but like it's one of those things that like just please stop explaining it. Please stop explaining what this monster is, please, for the love of God. Everything that happens in the movie though is good.
I feel like specifically with like horror concepts or like sci-fi horror concepts, that we had like the amazing run in like the 70s and like early 80s, and then everything just became like so painfully over-explained that people thought like everyone needs the lore and like the every little like nitty-gritty detail for these creature concepts like explained and spoon-fed. And then like we eventually like circled back in like the late aughts to like get back into Lovecraftian style, like let shit be mysterious.
Could you imagine Invasion of the Body Snatchers today? Like, they would have to explain how they copy you, how your memories get copied.
Well, it depends on who's doing it, because like there's a lot of people in like specifically just horror in general that like are letting people like have shit be up to the like Nope, for example. You know, like we have stuff like that, and you know,
yeah, but we
movies.
have stuff like that because of how shit has been happening in the genre.
Yeah,
you know, like that is a reaction to a problem.
Yeah, it would depend on how independent the remake is. If it's like a full-blown, this is a big project for like Warner Brothers, and like the executives get, you know, involved in it and fuck it up, yeah, it would definitely go down the wrong path. It's just interesting how we go in like waves. I'm glad we're in like a good phase right now where we are getting good shit, good creature concepts like Nope and stuff, you know. So we gotta enjoy it while it lasts, because eventually it'll fucking pivot back to being bullshit again.
Yeah, it'll circle back,
and we'll be waiting for it to come back around to being good, because such is the way of life in movies.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yeah, I think I've kind of touched on everything. Overall, it's probably sounded like I'm really negative on it. I don't hate it. I don't particularly like it. I feel like I would have like a better appreciation for this if I had watched it back in the day. But I can't watch it with that mindset now, because I not someone that watched it back then. So like I watch it as someone who has seen 4 John Wick movies, and I'm just like, could be watching John Wick again,
man. Yeah, overall, I still really like this movie. I don't know, maybe it's because I saw it in the day, but like I said, I don't see this the same way I do with The Rocketeer, or the other example I usually use also that I'm forgetting right now because I'm really tired. There's another movie that I usually say we don't get A without B. I really think The Rocketeer is the blueprint for the first Iron Man movie. They're very similar in so many ways, and I want to cover that on the show to kind of compare and contrast them a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
don't watch the trailer.
Don't watch the trailer, for the love of God. But yeah, can I share something I did I shouldn't have done?
Oh God, go ahead.
I turned on Raiders of the Lost Ark and just let it run. The kids did their usual thing. Something interesting is happening. It grabs their attention. Something not interesting is happening. They're not into movies yet. And when I was their age, I wasn't really either. I wanted to be doing something because I spent so much time at school or sleeping so I can go to school or something. Like, I just wanted to do my own thing, kind of be left alone at their age. And that's kind of what they do. And then I kind of fell into movies later. I usually have them on in the background. They don't tend to do that. But anyways, it would grab their attention. Well, there's a particular moment at the end of the movie that definitely grabbed their attention.
Oh, did they watch the face melting Nazis?
Nathan couldn't look away, and Haley literally turned away from the TV and was like, "Oh my God!" When the dude's face literally melts away, the dude with the coat hanger that has the headpiece in his hand.
You know what's so fun? This is gonna be a memory they have for the rest of their lives. They're gonna like be talking to you 20 years from now. It's like, you know what, Dad? I didn't sleep for a week when you showed me the fucking face melting Nazis when I was 7 years old. You fucking prick. Did you just like forget?
Nope.
They were in the room, or did you?
Nope.
Did you intentionally? Did you want them to see it, or like,
did.
like
I wanted
you wanted them to see it?
I wanted to see the reaction.
Has Chris started the divorce papers yet?
Chris was in the room and she let it happen.
Oh man, it's Twins are gonna get good and traumatized tonight.
It's so good.
Meat's back on the menu, boys. Oh fuck, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So then, when the movie was over, I was like, "So Indiana Jones, yay or nay?" And Nathan went, "Yay!" And Haley was like, "Yay!" Except for the part where people melted.
See, I feel like you've started Nathan on the trend of being like a hardcore horror movie
He
guy
already
now, and
is.
I appreciate that. How
He-
so? How is he already?
So we'll talk about things like where you know, you need to wear a helmet when you ride your bicycle, otherwise you could like fall off and like, you know, hurt your head. And he's like, you could bust your head open and your brain spill out. Like, he says shit like that all the time. And I'm usually like, buddy, you're taking the conversation too far. You knew what I was getting at. You can't say stuff like that to people. And
Dad, you have to turn away and you can't look in the arc, otherwise your Nazi face melts off.
Yeah. And you know, like he does stuff like that all the time. He says stuff like that all the time. He's fascinated by stuff like that all the time. And there are times that me and Chris are trying to watch something that I hear him and I know that he's at the end of the stairs trying to see the TV.
Yeah, he's gonna be a horror guy for sure.
He's definitely a horror guy, and he's like, he can't look away from the TV when something like that happens. And there's so many things I want to show him that I'm like, I was too young at 10 and he's 7. Like,
the time will come. Yeah, just,
you know, like
yeah.
You show him Star Wars, and anything that happens in Star Wars, like he adds extra to it. If somebody gets cut in half or loses an arm, he has to take it to the next step, when Star Wars itself is very tame with that kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay, again, buddy, we're taking things too far. We need to dial it back a little bit. You're 7. Like, you know, so he's into it already. I already know that. And
nice.
There's going to come a day that I'm just like, okay, buddy, you sit here. I'm going to put on this movie. It is called Alien. And it's about an extraterrestrial on a spaceship. I think you're going to enjoy it. You know, this thing is literally called The Thing. And yeah, we're just going to sit and watch this movie and see what happens. I think you'll enjoy it.
If he watches The Thing for the first time and I'm not there, I'm disowning all of y'all. It's like, you say he's like gonna be a horror guy, and I'm over here like with my fly hands, man, just like, yes,
dude, I want to show him The Fly so much.
Oh man, dude, The Fly disturbs me.
Like, well,
the fucking scene where he has all the pieces in the jars is when I'm like, oh my god,
yeah.
You're just like, fuck,
it's
man.
very Immortal Hulk. If you've ever read Immortal Hulk, they do the same thing. No, there's the thing that bothers me about The Fly is not necessarily the body horror stuff. It's how into it the character is. Usually in those type movies, the trope is the person is freaking out and trying to stop it.
He's so into it. It's so creepy.
He's so into it. He wants it to happen. He's trying to help it along. Yeah. But anyways, he's already a horror guy. He was glued to the TV and people's faces melted.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Haley has to look away at Pirates of the Caribbean. And what movie was it? Something was one of the Harry Potters. She screamed and hid underneath a blanket, and it was like the most harmless thing. I'll have to ask Chris about it. I can't remember which movie it was. I think it's the first movie.
Was it Daniel Radcliffe's acting?
I believe it was, yes. now that you say that, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it was. Yeah, I don't remember. No, she can't handle anything. It has to be like Disney level for her to handle it. If it's not, she's hiding under a blanket.
It's funny how like she's on the path to being Aurora and Nathan's on the path to being me.
She's on the path to being Chris. Chris is that way. She is still mad at you for bringing over Sinister.
Oh, I was just about to make a joke. I was thinking how you got to show Nathan Sinister so he has a lifelong obsession with fucking lawnmowers. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is still mad at you for that. She did not sleep that night, and she has never been exposed to horror movies really before.
Until that point, like,
pretty much. Wow. Yeah.
Why'd she watch it?
I don't know. People were over. She was up. She'd been drinking.
That's fair. Dude, Sinister is pretty good. Sinister is.
I described the idea of Terminator to Nathan. He seems into it. I told Chris that outside of the conception of John Connor, I mean, the Marvel movies have stuff that's just as bad as the rest of that movie. he's seen all of the Marvel movies. It's just the sex scene that is really the problem in that movie.
Well, it's pretty graphic when doesn't he like brutally break the like legs and arms of one of the bikers at the beginning? That's like the only thing I can think of that's like pretty graphic. I can't remember. That's been a minute since I watched it.
It's pretty horrific, but it's not like he's ripping off the dude's limbs and blood is spurting everywhere. Like, it's
that's the thing though. It's like
it's
what's
the
funny.
sound.
What's funny is like, you know how much of like a horror guy I am, and I can watch anything and not be phased. But if you show me like a YouTube video of someone crashing their bike and breaking their leg, that's what freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's because it's just like seeing like somebody's like fucking arm bent the wrong way. You're just like, oh Jesus.
Like that one football player that they had to wheel off
like,
of the thing that even I saw.
Yeah, like it's funny. Like, I watch like a lot of NFL football, but if someone gets like really graphically injured, that's where I have to kind of like look away. It freaks me out a little bit because it's real, and it's not someone getting like fucking lightsabered in half. It's very grounded. It's very real. Like the dude broke his fucking leg. You know, it's fucked up.
The thing
happened a couple weeks ago, about like a month ago, something like really fucked up happened that made it even worse because it didn't happen to a player, but a player on the Saints was running towards the sideline, right? One of the officials who like does like the, you know, like the first down marker things.
Yeah.
One of the down judge guys who like run the chains for first down, second down, whatever. The fucking running back on the Saints was trying to get out of bounds, crashed into his leg and brutally broke the official's leg.
Jesus.
And it got caught on camera and it was really bad. I was just like, oh God, I didn't need to see that, man.
Yeah, I remember reacting the same way as the characters in Terminator 2 when he cuts the skin off of his own arm to reveal he's a robot. Because if you recall, the way the guy is reacting is he recognizes it, right? Because he has it locked in a vault, the same arm. But like he's simultaneously horrified and fascinated at what the fuck is happening. And I remember having that exact same reaction to that.
Yeah.
The thing that freaks me out about in that movie more than anything is when it cuts to the other end of the phone and he has the mom stabbed through the throat and and her voice is coming out of his face.
Yeah, that's a great scene. It's very haunting.
His voice, her voice coming out of his face while she is brutally murdered in the same room with him. His arm is still in her throat and he just sounds like a loving mother, but you're looking at him. That haunts me more than anything I've ever seen in a movie, I think.
It's a great scene. And it's also it's so quiet. That's another thing too. It's not like, you know, usually when you have like a really graphic kill in like a horror movie or like sci-fi horror or something, it is like there's drama to it. There's shock value to it, but that is like it's like calm shock value, which makes it even more like intense. Yeah, I agree. That's a great scene.
But yeah, so long story short, we're halfway through Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
because I'm a great father. I've been trying to wait until they're 10 to throw so much shit at them. I'm so close. The closer they get to 10, the harder it is for me to wait.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I am contemplating just throwing Jurassic Park at them because there's not much in that is worse than the Marvel movies.
I think the first Jurassic Park would be perfectly fine for like 7 or 8 year olds. I don't think it's that bad.
The Samuel L. Jackson's arms attaching themselves to Ellie's shoulder is about the worst part of that, I think.
Yeah.
That and Haley doesn't have any experience with monster movies at all. I thought it was going to be backwards. When they were toddlers and I was showing them classic Godzilla movies and she was the one obsessed with them, I thought it was going to be backwards, but no.
Oh,
it's him. So yeah, it'll be, since Chris won't watch horror movies with me, you and I go, it's going to end up being you, me, and Nathan going to see movies at like midnight.
I'm all about it.
Probably on a school night, because again, I'm a great father.
You're not a good father. You're a great father. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a wrap, though, unless there's any other parts of the movie you wanted to touch on before you sign off.
No. I couldn't find anything in this movie that I just had to show Nathan.
I like how we found a way to circle back around to football again in the 11th hour. That was
Right?
interesting.
We talked sports, Jeff. What the fuck is happening?
Are you a body snatcher? Are you?
I'm a changeling.
Am I gonna like go over to your house in a few weeks and you open the door and you just do that screech while pointing at me through the door frame? I feel like
You
that's
open the
probably gonna
door and I just
happen.
have a Futurama brain slug on the side of my head.
Yeah.
Oh my god, thank you. It was a living nightmare. And then he put it back on. And then it's like, oh, sorry about that, buddy. And then he
I put the brain slug back on. You're just like, so did you catch that Falcons game? Oh fuck. If you have I feel like we cut each other off with sports jokes and fucking body snatcher jokes. You didn't have anything else to talk about with Replacement Killers, right?
No, I love this movie.
Yeah. I am
Did you at
indifferent
least
on it.
enjoy it?
I didn't hate it. I did not particularly enjoy it.
Really?
But yeah, I think it's really interesting being the person who watched it back then and like finding like a different way to appreciate it. I think that's like super cool that like, you were able to kind of like think the movie was shallow when there was actually more like depth to it. But I, as someone just watching it for the first time now, I can't watch it through like that lens as far as just taking it by its own accounts in like the late 90s.
The truth is that 13-year-old me was probably just too much of a shitheel to notice the depth of the movie.
And when you're 13, you're just like, you're just watching it for...
Yeah, he shot that guy real good.
He shot that guy really good, yeah. Oh man, we might see a boob. This is awesome.
That's the other thing too. It's rated R. We're avoiding showing people getting shot in the face. We're not glorifying the violence. And there is no nudity in this movie.
I appreciate that because I feel like when movies feel like they arbitrarily are forced into having a really cringy, awkward sex scene, like, why?
No, why did movies from the
why did movies in the 80s and 90s like feel obligated to have like a really cringy sex scene all the time?
I don't know, but I appreciate it as well. I just cannot believe the restraint. And again, I have to think it has something to do with government censorship in China. It had to pass Chinese censorship, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, like they would have fallen in the same tropes for sure. This movie is worth watching for Clifton Gonzalez and Danny Trejo.
Dude, I don't know. I might enjoy a Loco spinoff. I don't know. I can't decide.
The suitcase gun was super cool.
The suitcase gun was so cool.
The suitcase gun is super cool. That was the part that I liked. And yeah,
which I believe you see in John Wick.
I cannot. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, again, it sounded like I hated the movie. I definitely did not hate the movie. I just, it's a totally different viewing experience watching it for the first time. I wish I had seen it back then, and then this was a revisit.
Sure that you would think it's okay and would kind of like it, and I thought,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's okay. It's like the straightest putt for me. It's like it's okay, and it's fine.
I thought at the very minimum you'd find it like fascinating because it's such a weird intersection of so many different movie types and tropes and cultural lines and everything.
For sure, our conversation about it has made me appreciate it more. For sure, just as someone just kind of like watching it at face value, it also kind of like what was interesting about it like went a little bit over my head because I was looking at it a little bit more like generically as far as like trying to figure out like what's going on with the characters and the plotting and stuff. But what's interesting about it is like you said, like the mishmash elements of it. So it's I'm glad that you had it on the show because it's really interesting to talk about.
What did you think about the plot and even like the way the title of the movie plays in? Because at the title of the movie, the movie is about, if you think about it, Danny Trejo and other dude. Yeah, because it starts out about him and then they get called in, and the movie though, it's when they reveal the kid aspect. The movie is literally about we have to like stop these guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's simple, but with layers in it is what I like about the plot, and that's what would have just. I had no memory of that. I just remember a shoot 'em up thing with Chow Yun Fat, which I like Chow Yun Fat. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like thinking of the movie in the context of like John Wick versus Shoot 'em Up.
yeah, which is a good movie.
I love Shoot 'em Up.
Paul Giamatti is fucking incredible.
Every now and then when I'm driving my car and I'll be like by myself in the car and I flick my turn signal, it makes me think of their conversation about turn signals in that movie. Just like he gets so fun. There's like a 2-minute rant about people not using their turn signals that just like really stuck with me because it was so that perfectly sums up that movie because it's so unnecessary and awesome. It's so funny.
And that is an example of nudity being used to great effect because there's a dead woman next to him and he grabs her naked boob just for the fun of it. Do you remember that?
I don't. Is that in Shoot 'em Up? I do not remember that.
That's in Shoot 'em Up. She's sitting there with one of her boobs out. She's shot in the head. She's in the car seat next to him. And he reaches over and is squeezing her boob with his eyes rolling back in his head.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Dude, I was just like, oh my God, I've never wanted Paul Giamatti to die so much in my life.
Yeah, he is disgusting in that movie.
He is so disgusting in that movie.
Yeah.
And you already want him dead. And then he just reaches over and grabs a dead lady's boob and is getting off on it.
Yeah, he's the fucking worst.
But he's the best.
But it's Paul Giamatti, so yeah.
Oh my God, I fucking love him.
Yeah, he's great. If you would like to follow the show more, we can obviously occasionally release a podcast.
And
we've shown
with a roller coaster ride like this episode was, why wouldn't you want to?
Yeah, we've had sports conversations. We've had conversations.
Necrophilia.
Of course. Every once in a while
you need your necrophilia. This is what happens when you and I don't get to talk on a regular basis. When we had to skip one of our sessions of the podcast.
One of our sessions, like it's a therapy session.
We just get pent up, and then we have these fucking roller coaster rides of an episode.
Show us on the doll where Paul Giamatti touched you.
Oh no. No, in Paul Giamatti's case, you can use the doll should it please you.
Oh man, hey, we got our Bloodborne callback.
I mentioned Dark Souls earlier too. Take a drink, everybody.
Take a drink. Yeah. What the fuck sign offs. Yeah. We're on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. Where you can follow us for show updates. I was giving updates on when this podcast was going to release, and I just gave up because I didn't know. So I was just like, well, it'll come out eventually. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, a lot's been happening lately.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm here now.
We will we will eventually have podcasts. That is just like all we could say. Ratings or reviews on whichever platform you found us on is always helpful. If you found us on YouTube, obviously liking the uploads and subscribing helps us out tons.
Smash that bell.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Did you actually do the bell with anything? I don't have notifications on for like anything on YouTube. Does anyone actually do that?
The only thing I do is if there's something like an upcoming live event that I want to be notified of.
That's fair. Yeah, if it's like a live event, that makes sense.
But no,
otherwise,
NASA does a lot of the like rocket launches and stuff.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
but I don't hit the bell. I don't get all updates on everything.
Smash the bell responsibly. That's what I'll say. Yeah, and Ron, did you want to plug any of your other material you've been? Because I know you got sick, but you had started doing some like streams and YouTube stuff again, right?
Yeah, I did a couple of Dark Souls live streams, which I want to do. I only did like the 2 back to back that 1 week, and then I got busy, and then I got sick. So, but I am going to continue that character. I'm going through Dark Souls remastered using different various weapons because Bobby criticized me last time I played Dark Souls for always using a sword, which is my favorite weapon and in real life and in the game.
Which is your go-to in there?
So
like, as far as like which of the swords?
I could not believe I've never done this on stream, but I have a character build that I do named Hollybird that uses all spears and halberds and trashes everything else that she picks up.
The halberds are really fun. They're really broken.
So to get back into it, to get acclimated again, I'm doing my Hollybird run. So she's using halberds and spears. I was thinking about doing I've never done like a club/hammer run. And I thought about trying to black firebomb Asylum Demon and get that demon's great hammer. That takes like 50 strength or something.
Yeah,
to
you'll be
wield.
leveling up nothing but that, and then
That's all I'll need though. At the same time.
Well, I mean, you can do the 2-hand bonus thing. Okay, this is getting very nerdy. We gotta get out of here. But what was your channel name? Just for
Ronsense TV on YouTube. I'm doing a Subnautica modded run right now.
Sick.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to make sure
new stuff coming soon.
Since you'd kind of gotten back in the swing of things. So yeah, go make sure to subscribe to Ron on YouTube and follow him on Twitch and whatnot. Are you running both Twitch and YouTube, or are you primarily running one like live stuff on one of them?
I'm doing live stuff currently on Twitch, and then I'm doing video uploads to YouTube.
Yeah, I can never like keep track of like there was like a big migration of people like leaving Twitch to go to YouTube, but then people are like back on Twitch. I can't keep track of like what's
since I'm a smaller
go-to platform.
Since I'm a smaller channel, I decided to go with the platform culture. Right, is so very different between YouTube and Twitch. I decided to do live streams on Twitch for a while longer. I want to try streaming on YouTube. I don't know that I like having an individual link for each stream though. Twitch, if you have my link saved or you do something with my link, it's always my link anytime I'm live.
Yeah, that's true.
And on YouTube, the live stream is also the VOD, so it has its own individual generated link like anything else you upload.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I have the same stream key. I can just hit live anytime I want. But, you know, if you have my link saved in like VLC player or something specific, it's a new link every time I stream on YouTube. And I don't know how I feel about that yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. And there's also like Kick, which was the thing for a minute. But
yeah, Jerry Rocha streams on. He streams multi-platform, but he has a lot of people over on Kick right now. Is where the majority of his chat is.
I am too out of the loop to even keep track anymore. All I know is like everyone kind of lulled at Mixer dying because Mixer was a thing for a minute. Spent how many millions of dollars to get like Ninja
and it died at the worst time.
Yeah,
it died right at the beginning of the pandemic. It would have so blossomed probably because it had so many cool features. Jeff, you could
they had like the better bandwidth too. Like for the video quality was better.
It was better, and you could upload all of your overlays and shit to their website. And then if you streamed directly from your console, like some people do, you had alerts, you had your banners, you had all of your overlays and shit because you uploaded it to them. And you didn't have to worry about doing any kind of crazy shit to try to get that stuff. You didn't need a PC to stream to Mixer at all. It was really neat.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, and then there's probably going to be like a fucking another streaming platform in the next couple of years because like there's always someone else trying to like butt in and they'll like surface for a while and then they're just gone. It's really strange.
Market penetration is difficult.
Streaming has become like a really wild thing. I think over the last like couple of years.
Thing. Bam, 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 bam.
All right, we gotta get out of here before my voice dies for like a month, and we have to shut down the show again.
What are we watching?
Yeah, we are going. So it's coming up on the holidays, right? So everyone's a lot of people are out there, you know, like doing their like their road trips to like with their family and friends, like go visit family out of town and everything. Yeah. And I can't think of a more wholesome and family fun fueled road trip movie than Mad Max Fury Road. So I think we got to cover Mad Max Fury Road, especially since we have the prequel coming out next year.
Furiosa.
Yeah, which I cannot fucking. Did you watch that trailer yet for Furiosa, man?
I don't need to.
Oh my god, just inject it into my veins. Also, we got the fucking still image of Willem Dafoe as the crazy vampire hunter character in the next Nosferatu remake.
That's all I need to know. I don't need to know anything else about that movie.
Dude, next year has Furiosa and Nosferatu, and I could not be more fucking excited. Like, please inject it into my veins.
And you can find us live at the local Cinemark on a Tuesday when those movies come out.
I'm so excited, dude. Oh my god. Let me just Ron vamp for just a second while I pull up Fury Road to see what platforms it's available.
Wild thing. Bam, 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 bam.
All right, I regret prompting Ron for that. All right, it is streaming on Max. and obviously like rentable and everywhere else. So there you go.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm excited. I watched that trailer for Furiosa, and I was like, it's been like 2 or 3 years since I saw Fury Road, and I knew I had to have it on the show, so I had an excuse to watch it again. Because fuck yes.
What's funny about this movie, and we'll get into it, is this movie is about Furiosa already. Like, it's so good.
She's already the main character, so it makes total sense to have a prequel about her. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I can't fucking wait. Yeah, this has been fun. This was a long episode full of
We're
movie
back,
talk.
baby.
We got your sports, we got your movies, we got your streaming platform, we got just like the whole fucking
Screenplay Rewind coming soon.
This is almost like one of our fucking original podcast uploads. Remember we did like the various subjects and news and stuff? That's weird. It's weird going back to like one of our original formats accidentally.
This was very similar to our green room conversations usually.
Yeah, it's just 2-hour long green room. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We might have this next episode uploaded on time. I don't fucking know. Just smash the bell. You know what's coming out. Have a good night, everybody.
Don't smash the bell. Smash the bell.
Just kidding. Smash the fucking bell. Sunday.
Smash it, you cowards. Need to get Shia LaBeouf in here. Just do it.
Just do it.